Today I'm tackling a project that I have been dying to do for like 8 weeks now, and it is a big, massive declutter of the makeup drawers that you see behind me. I spent a large part of 2015 trying to declutter and minimize the amount of things that I have in my home, and that's a goal that I'm taking with me into 2016 to just further kind of trim the stuff that I don't need out of my life and only keep the things that I really love. Originally, I thought I was going to be able to tackle all of this in one video, but I was looking at these drawers today and I was like, that's not gonna happen. So I'm going to be splitting this up into 3 different videos. Today, I'm going to be decluttering my foundations, primers, concealers, brow products, bronzers, face powders, that kind of stuff. And then I'll dedicate another video to like eyeshadows, eyeshadow palettes, blush, lip gloss, other kind of items in those categories. And then the third video will be dedicated to a much needed nail polish declutter. So stay tuned for the rest of the videos in this little mini series. I am planning on being pretty ruthless with this clean out. I really want to get rid of a bunch of stuff. So I'm probably going to have to look at some products that I actually really love and just realize that I don't need 10 dewy foundations. I don't have the use for that and part with them. Let's go ahead and get started. I have 2 shades of the YSL Touche Eclat foundation. This is possibly my favorite foundation of all time, but this lighter shade is just a little bit too light for me. I feel ghostly when I wear it. I think I have a friend who's this shade, so I think I'm going to pass this on to her. Down here I have this Murad Absolute Bronzing Boost. This is really cool. This is like an all-over bronze tint. However, I don't really use it because I use like my Saint Tropez bronzing mousse and products like that so much that this just doesn't really get used a lot. So I'm going to pass this on as well. I have the Dior Skin Nude BB Cream, and I really like this product, but it is old. Definitely past its expiration date, so I'm going to go ahead and just toss that. And then I have the Maybelline Superstay Better Skin Foundation, and this is a tricky one for me because I really like this foundation, but this shade is just a little bit light for me, kind of like that other YSL color. So I don't get the use out of this that I should, so I'm tempted to pass this on and then repurchase it in a better color for me. I have a couple different products from Laura Mercier. I have the Tinted Moisturizer, which I love, so I'm going to hold on to that. And then I also have the foundation primer in the Radiance version, which is like a shimmery version of their primer. But these days I've noticed that my skin is a little bit more oily / dewy on its own, and so I'm kind of staying away from products like this. I have a couple of different shades of the Jouer Luminizing Moisture Tint. I really like this product. However, I have had these for a very long time. On the back here it says expires April of 2015. Back here I have the M Cosmetics Love Me For Me foundation, and this is a great example of a product that I really like, but I never use because I have so many similar things to it. It just doesn't get in the rotation. So I'm going to go ahead and give this away to somebody. I also have the Dr. Jart BB Beauty Balm. This is amazing. I totally recommend it if you're looking for a great BB cream. However, I have had this for so long. On the back here it says expiration July 2015. So that's expired. I'm going to go ahead and toss that. Back here I have my Neutrogena Healthy Skin Liquid Foundation. You guys know I love this. However, I have had this one for a really long time. I think on the back it says expired September 2015. So I am going to go ahead and toss this and replace it at some point. I also have the Clinique Even Better foundation, and I really like this. However, I received it as a PR sample and it isn't the exact shade for me. It's a little bit off, and so I think I'm going to give this to somebody that it matches more and keep it in mind for maybe repurchasing it in the shade that works better for me. I have my Chanel Perfection Lumiere Velvet foundation. I love this, not going to give that up. I have my Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer. I have been using this every single day. This is my primer of the moment, not going to part with this. I have another primer. This is the Clarins Instant Light Radiance Boosting Complexion Base, and I like this. However, it is also old. I know that I've had this for quite a long time. Yeah, it says 18 months on the back, and I've definitely had it longer than that, so I'm going to go ahead and toss it. I have my Benefit Stay Don't Stray eyeshadow primer, and to be honest, I use my paint pots and my NARS smudge proof eyeshadow base so much that this just doesn't get used, so I'm going to give it away to somebody. I have my Benefit Gimme Brow. This is a great product, but this is old. I have had this forever. It's almost gone anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and toss it. I have my Benefit Boing concealer. I like this concealer. I just have so many that this doesn't get used very much, so I think I'm going to have to part with that one. I also have the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer, but this isn't that highlighter shade that I'm always talking talking about. This is just a normal shade, and I've had this for so long. I bought this, I think, like 3 or 4 years ago, and I've used it twice. Like, I bought it and just forgot about it because I like the highlighting shade so much more, so it's time for this one to be tossed. It's old. Then back here I have the brightening, illuminating shade of the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer, so I'm definitely holding on to this. This is one of my favorite concealers of all time. I have my NARS eyeshadow base, holding on to this, love this. I have my MAC brow set, I love this, but I do need to repurchase it in a clear shade because this was clear at one point. It's just not anymore, but I'm going to hold on to this anyway. My Hourglass Arch Brow Pencil, I use this to do my brows almost every single day, love that. Down here, I've actually forgotten that I have this. This is the MAC Pro Longwear Waterproof Brow Set, and it came out with the waterproof brow fluid line, and I really, really like these. You can see I used a bunch of this, like, all at once. I was really into it for a while, and then I kind of stopped using it, and now, actually, I think I might keep this and toss this because this is kind of ready to be tossed, and then it'll give me an opportunity to use this up. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to do that. And then down here I have a few more brow pencils. I have the Benefit Instant Brow Pencil, and I really like the color of this. However, I don't know if it got melted or something, but it's kind of like soft and creamy, and too creamy to the point where it's always breaking when I use it. So I think I am going to go ahead and part with this one. So that's it for that drawer. Here is my next drawer. I have bronzers, face powders, some highlighters, some eyeshadow primers. This one's going to be a challenge for me because powders don't expire very easily, and I love a lot of these products, but I really do not use a lot of them. So let's start back here. I have the Tarte Park Avenue Princess Contour Palette. This is really nice. It has a matte bronzer, a blush, and a highlighter, and I used this a lot for a while, but I feel like this highlighter is a little bit too yellow for me. That's why I don't use it. It's just more suited for golden skin tones. Mine is very pink and cool, so I feel like I'm going to give this to somebody who it would suit more. I have a couple of different face powders back here. I have the Revlon Nearly Naked powder, which is a nice sheer setting powder, but this is old. I have had this for a few years now, and I don't really use it that much because I'm so busy using my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish or my Hourglass setting powders that this just doesn't get a lot of love. So tossing that, I also have the M Cosmetics Love Me For Me powder. This is another really nice one, but it's also one that just doesn't get in the rotation because I'm using my MAC and Hourglass powders so much. So I hate to part with this because this is a really nice one and I really like it. This is one of those hard decisions. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm just going to do it. I have this Bobbi Brown bronzer duo that was limited edition, I think a few summers ago. And I bought it because I liked how rosy the colors were, and I was really into that for a while. And now I'm not so into that for my bronzer. I don't really want something so pink for my bronzer. I have a couple of bronzers from Jouer. One of them I used a ton. I think the suntan one. Yeah, I use this one a ton, and it's great, but it's kind of old. The powder almost has like hard, dry ridges to it now because it's so old, but I almost hit pan on this. There's a solid dent in that, but I'm going to toss it. And then this other one is Sunswept, and I don't wear it because it's too warm for me. It's just a little bit too orangey toned. I have my Dior Amber Diamond Shimmer Powder. Do you guys remember when this was so popular? It was one of the hottest products in the beauty community, and it really is such a nice product. However, I tend to lean toward more pinky highlighters these days, and this is definitely a more warm-toned palette. However, this is really pretty on the eyes. So this is a maybe. I'm going to think about this one. Back here, I have the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Bronzer. Really like this for a matte bronzer, keeping it. I have my MAC Sun Dipped Pro Longwear Powder. This is so amazing. I do not know why this isn't permanent, but they do tend to re-promote it every spring and summer. So if you see the Pro Longwear bronzers pop up, totally pick one up. Definitely holding on to this. And then I have a couple of MAC Mineralized Skin Finishes that I love, but I just don't use. Well, I have Soft and Gentle, which is permanent, and I do use that one quite a bit, so I'll hold on to this. But then I have a couple of others that were limited edition that just have not gotten a lot of use from me. This is By Candlelight, which is really pretty. And then there is Stereo Rose, which was like, had a cult following when it came out. This was so popular. I think I'm going to find somewhere else for these to go. And I also have a couple of the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Naturals in a couple of different shades. I have light and medium, and the medium one I use all the time. You can see it's actually kind of honeycombing on the bottom. I'm almost out of it. I'm going to keep this, but this light shade is just a little bit too light for me, and it's also very old. It's like, I've probably had this maybe going on 4 years now, so I wouldn't even give it to somebody. It's quite old, so I'm just going to toss it. Oh, and by toss, I mean recycle with the Back to MAC program. If you take in 6 plastic casings for the recycling program, you get to pick out a free eyeshadow, lipstick, or lip gloss. The last time I checked, that is what you could choose from to pick out, which is really awesome. So I'll be like recycling or doing something other than just like trashing all of this stuff. I have a few different NARS powder. I have a couple of the contour powders. I have the shade Paloma, which I've used a ton. I love that bronzer color. And then I also have the Olympia contour powder. And to be honest, this is just a little bit light and yellow for my skin type. Like this highlighter is quite yellow right here. So I'm going to pass Olympia on to somebody. And then of course I have my NARS Laguna bronzer, which is not going anywhere. Back here I have a few different highlighters. I have Benefit High Beam, which I like, so I'll keep that. I have my Clinique Chubby Stick Sculpting Highlight, which I really love, so I will be keeping that. And then of course I have my Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector Poured in the shade Pearl, which is my favorite highlighter I think that I have, and I'm going to keep this. Going through my box of cream eyeshadows, I have a few of these Jouer cream eyeshadow crayons. These are really nice. I just tend to gravitate more toward pot form, and I have all of these shades in like cream eyeshadow pots here, so these don't get used very much. So I think I'm going to give those away. I have 2 MAC paint pots. I have Painterly and Soft Ochre. Painterly is one of my favorite of all time. It just matches my skin tone really nicely, and it helps my eyeshadow wear really well. Definitely going to keep that. And then I also have Soft Ochre from MAC, which actually is a little bit too yellow for my taste, especially in comparison to Painterly. I got this thinking I would like to switch it up a little bit, and it just looks a little bit yellow on my eyes. And I hate to part with this because it's hardly been used, but I feel like I have to. I'm going to set my keeps back here. I have the Dior Show Fusion Mono Eyeshadow in Chimere. This is such a pretty kind of light, sparkly, pinky nude color. Definitely keeping that. I have my Benefit RSVP Cream Eyeshadow, which has been used to death. This is kind of drying up as well, but I love this. I am just still going to hold on to it because it's like one of my favorite eyeshadow bases ever. I have this Makeup Forever Aqua Cream in number 15, and to be honest, this is so old. I should have tossed this a long time ago. I haven't used it for a very long time as it is, and it's time for it to go. And then for the rest of these, I just kind of have to see what's dried up. Like these Jouer Longwear Cream Mousse eyeshadows are so pretty. They are like the most sparkly cream bases if you're looking for something kind of ethereal. They are really nice. However, this one is definitely dried up, and I think most of these are going to be as well. Then I have some more of the Benefit Creaseless Cream Shadows, and I have to see if these are dry. That one's definitely dried up, so going to toss that. And then back here in the very back, I have my giant Marc Jacobs Omega bronzer, which I love. I just have to keep it in the back because it doesn't fit up here as easily, but this is amazing. And I have used this so much, and there isn't even a dent in it. It's the most massive amount of product in the world. So that's it for that drawer. Okay, so here's a look at everything that I'm parting with. I counted it up, and it's, I think, 38 items, which is a pretty good clear out. Got rid of a bunch of stuff that I don't use or that's old or just don't love enough and will be happier in a different home. And that's it for part 1 of my 2016 Makeup Declutter mini series. Stay tuned for the other 2 videos I'll be doing, tackling other sections of my stash, or if by the time you're watching this video those are already up, I will have them linked down in the info bar. Thanks for watching, I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye!